Yay! We are so glad that you are here. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
But so nice to see ya.
I know. We got a good program today. We had a really good time on Wednesday. This is the problem. I really like November, October, and November. They are our favorite months because we got married. We met on Thanksgiving, so our anniversary, our meeting anniversary. The first day we met is coming up, and our wedding was on Halloween.
Yes, it was.
So, and fall is my favorite time of year, because
me too. For a lot of reasons. A lot of our
my favorite colors.
Yeah, exactly. Colors. Well, actually, today, bright yellow leaves that are falling.
We're doing pastels today because it's like there's this. It just feels like 4 o'clock out here, and someone just like turned off the lights at 4 o'clock. It's like somebody didn't pay their bills in the northern hemisphere or something. Anyway,
it's so fun. It's really fun to be with you. So for my last song today, I have a special song about gratitude, especially for the hashtag blessed crowd, which we were talking about last week.
That hashtag blessed. Well, and my message today is going to be on from chapter 28. If you want to get that together, welcome, Jacqueline. It's going to be on chapter 28, the undoing of fear. One of the reasons why I like this time of year is because the course gets really complex. She is building on top of the foundations we did in the first half, and she's building and building and building. So like 28, 29, and 30, it's like when you start after chapter 25, we're really stacking up concepts here. We really are. We're talking about forgiveness and the body and a lot about what group dynamics are and how we fit into, like, what does this whole, every spiritual path is like, into the wholeness, into the oneness, not two, one, non-dualism. So if we're always talking about this one big thing, this one life we're living, the wonderful, beautiful paradox in all of that is that we're only experiencing one aspect of it. And we call that a Glenn or a Yolanda or something like that.
Or a Connie or a Jacqueline or a Dawn.
And that's not the problem.
Or Fran. Fran has joined us.
Hi, Fran.
Thank you, Fran.
So how do we participate in oneness when we have the experience of our senses and stuff telling us we're an individual, telling us that we're separate? And that's a really big way to a really big obstacle. We think it's a lot larger than it is, and I'm going to talk today about how actually simple it is to see through the illusion of our own singularity and actually see where we know how to participate in the group, in this beautiful group dance that we're doing. Chapter 28, section 2. It's called Reversing Cause and Effect. So,
Ooh. How about if we
what do you?
unrooted the actual cause and not just the
I know.
symptom?
And the subtitle is called "It's Your Fault." Right?
Well, I hope you'll explain what you mean by that.
Yes. Reversing cause and effect, or it's your fault.
Well, maybe there's a gentler, kinder way to
There
say
is
that.
see that's what
Possible.
you got to pull it out of the way we think about it. You need to, or I do in my own learning. I have to like juggle something loose a little bit in order to look at it in a new way. And I think A Course in Miracles does that really well with ideas like forgiveness and salvation and holiness and sacredness. Kind of flips all those ideas on their head.
Jacqueline's saying responsibility for sight. Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's empowering. So
let's cheer to you, my friends.
Here's to you. Here's to you.
all of our
oneness
ones.
and our sacredness.
Yes.
Speaking of sacredness,
let's sing our sacred sing-along. Here we go. And I think you probably know by now.
All right, sing it with us.
Hi. Oh, yay.
Yay.
Connie has somebody with her today. Hi. Oh, yeah, we're so excited. All right, here's our sing-along. Let things be.
I let things be.
Exactly as they are.
Exactly as they are.
You can't change me.
You can't change me.
And you can't change God.
'Cause you can't change God.
So let things be.
I let things be.
Exactly as they are.
Exactly as they are.
And you and me.
You and me.
We'll live in peace.
We live in peace.
Well, I don't know.
I don't know
what anything is for.
What anything is for.
Unless I listen to
that
still small voice.
I have a still small voice
telling me.
It's telling me
This simple truth.
This simple truth.
That everything
is for my good.
So let things be.
I let things be.
Exactly as they are.
Exactly as they are.
You can't change me.
You can't change me.
You can't change.
'Cause you can't change God.
So let things be.
I let things be.
Exactly as they are.
Exactly as they are.
You and me.
So you and me.
We'll live in peace.
We live in peace.
Now here comes
My
our
favorite
favorite
verse.
I'm not this body.
I'm not this body.
But I like my body.
I'm wonderful. I got a
know.
great one. Do you have a great one?
Yes, you do. I can see what you do.
I know.
I know. So that's not a problem. But we're not this body.
We're not these bodies
that we see.
that we really enjoy.
I am as God.
I am as God.
Created me.
God created me.
And we are all. One family.
One family.
And it's possible.
It's possible.
To live
It's
in
possible to live in peace, y'all.
So let things be.
I let things be.
Exactly as they are.
Exactly as they are.
You can't change me.
You can't change me.
You can't change.
'Cause you can't change God.
So let things be.
You can't things be.
Exactly as they are.
Exactly as they are.
And you and me.
So you and me.
Will live in peace.
We live in peace.
Goodbye, God. Wow, you had to thank you. Yes, goodbye, everybody.
And the crowd goes wild.
So that was Ellen. That's with
Hi, Ellen.
With Connie, and so we say hi to Ellen.
Hi to Ellen.
And we thank you for singing along and having fun with us. This is just
the Course in Miracles says, "I'm not a body, I am free."
Right.
The most of anything. That's what the Course. The phrase, the sentence that is most repeated in A Course in Miracles is, "I am not a body, I am free, I am here."
Say it over and over again.
And
that has been a stumbling block for me and other people for a while.
It's
hard to.
We learned what I learned last week. What we learned last week.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we learned a lot last week, but we learned that the body is propaganda for the material world. Do you remember that word of propaganda?
She said that in the chorus,
And
right? She
uses the
actually
word.
said
She
that
used the word.
in the text.
Yeah, propaganda.
Mm-hmm.
Your ego, and as a messenger of the body, claims to be a messenger of the body. Your ego does this because your ego thinks it is a material thing, when it's not. It's a completely made up thing. So it says. We learned that the body is neutral.
Right, that's what
right?
it was.
And the
Yeah.
ego uses the neutrality of the body to say, I'm different. I'm separate. It's propaganda for the lie. And
Wow.
and we're moving on to the next chapter where she goes into more detail about how to see past the ego, how to see past the ego's mindset. Because we're living in the world is run by egos,
Right.
right? Not truly, but we experience the world is run by egos,
Right.
right? You can't, like the song says, you can't change me because you can't change God.
I know, and it's a good thing
So,
you gave a shout out to God,
is it-
because I didn't think God could hear you. But you were like, and you can't change God.
I know. I like that. I like that idea. That's reliable. So if we've got this propaganda for materialism, but the material world, that it has real meaning and it's going to satisfy you, promise. That's the ego, the propaganda. Promise it'll all work out this time. Just double down on what doesn't work. So when we come into an understanding, we come into a desire for a relationship with what is real, a desire to, like the course says, nothing is going to satisfy you but love. Right? So what is this idea of love? How do we live? How do we operate from it from a three-dimensional perspective, as we are as bodies, and not succumb to the propaganda that material goods and a material experience is satisfying to us? And like, where does the mind go in this? What is thinking, and what is relationships? What are we for? All those things sort of snowball when we have to think of ourselves as body in a group, in a family, in a society, in a nation, in a thing. It kind of snowballs. So what are we going to do?
I don't know. I hope you'll tell us in a little while, because I need to know what to do. And I need to hear it very simply, please. Thank you.
I'll try. I'll try to be simple. It's chapter 28. Okay. It's a section 2. It's called Reversing Cause and Effect.
Wonderful. But before we do that, we are going to read the lesson, because it's very interesting today.
It's a poignant for today, too.
Okay. Lesson 319. I came for the salvation of the world. How about that?
I know. And stayed for brunch.
Stayed
for the brunch.
This morning. I came for the salvation of the world and stayed for brunch. Here is a thought from which all arrogance has been removed and only truth remains. Now, that's a twist.
So I came for the salvation of the world.
Yeah.
And that's supposed to be where all arrogance has been removed.
And only
I came for the salvation of the world.
Yeah.
So what are you here for?
Right. The salvation of the world. Thank you very much. For only arrogance opposes truth. But when there is no arrogance, the truth will come immediately and fill up the space the ego left unoccupied by lies.
Or propaganda.
Or propaganda, which you just said. Only the ego can be limited, and therefore it must seek for aims which are curtailed and limited.
Physical.
Right. Physical aims, right? Yeah. The ego thinks that what one gains, totality, all of us, community,
right,
like you said, must lose.
There's your loss. We're going to talk about that as well. What and how loss is this thread that ties all of this together.
And yet, it is the will of God, I learn, that what one gains is given to all.
Yeah. What political system is that when you gain, you give it to all? What system is that?
Well, we're going to be just talking about the will of God and what one gains is given to all.
That's wise.
Yes. So here's the prayer. Father, your will is total, and the goal which stems from it shares its totality. What aim but the salvation of the world could you have given me?
Right.
And what but this could be the will myself has shared with you? Wow.
Uh-huh.
thinking of sharing with God,
Uh-huh.
actually.
And like what the poem says,
Mm,
the teacher's prayer at the
right,
very end of the teacher's prayer,
right.
she says, "I give thanks for all your efforts on behalf of God, knowing that they're on my behalf as well, and
Yeah.
for all those who walked God with me."
A
That's
human.
a human. We're all doing this, and
Wow.
we're all required. You are required. And I'm
Yes.
required, and it's a beautiful thing. It's delicious.
It
So
is a beautiful thing, and I'm gonna
I
ring my
came for the
bell.
salvation of the world.
I'm gonna
I
ring
came
my
for the salvation of the world. It's what I'm for. It's just like
bell.
really, really lovely.
I know it really is. So I want to bring us into our circle
Circle.
of love meditation. In our meditation today, and then we're gonna move out of the meditation into a song that I wrote called Wahe Guru. I'm gonna show you the video. I think it's a nice transition.
Mhm.
But during the meditation, there's something I want to share with you that I found on November 11th. Now, this November 11th happened to be a very powerful one. 11 11 2020 numerologically lined up to be a gateway to greater understanding.
Mhm.
So, astrologically and numerologically, um, those everything lined up to receive, more like greater blessings and greater understanding. So I found this wonderful list of affirmations, 11 affirmations that are very much in a way like
Mhm.
my song, I
I
love
love myself.
myself, I
I
forgive
forgive
myself.
myself.
It's sort of
I
like
understand.
that, but it's a little more mature, perhaps, like a little more, with a little more understanding,
Uh-huh.
given to it. So in our meditation today, when we get in just a little bit here, I'm going to share these with you because I think you'll enjoy that. So first, let me get my glasses fixed. First, let's take 3 deep breaths
Mhm.
with my bell that I love to ring, and just inhale, exhale, and the third time, exhale with an om.
Oh.
The sound of Om, the sound of life, the sound of the vibration of the universe, that which we are, that which I call unconditional love, that which I call sacred mystery. We are creating a sacred mystery circle of love. Everyone in this room, on Zoom, and listening to the radio, all of us together are creating a circle of unconditional love that springs forth from our very being, because that is who we are. That is what we are made of. We are made of this unconditional love. And in this unconditional love, we allow it to bubble up inside of us and spill out into the room that we're sitting in, and with everyone and every creature and every living thing in our rooms that we're inhabiting, and we let it spill out into the buildings and the neighborhoods in which we live, and into our streets and into our country and into our world. And we see the effect. We see the power of affirming this unconditional love for all beings. We see what happens when we know the truth. And in this truth that we know that we are seated on land here in America that once belonged to the original inhabitants, our Native American brothers and sisters. And here in New York, we are on Lenape land. We also acknowledge and we know that Black Lives Matter and Black trans lives matter. And all that is happening in our world right now is moving human consciousness forward. So with that knowledge, let me share with you the 11 Gateway Affirmations. I am being guided to the right place at the right time. I am receiving amazing opportunities that will set me on the path to success. I am being watched over by more than one powerful guardian spirit. I am being guided to make decisions that will allow me to live a happy and fulfilled life. I am connecting to the source and call forth the codes of awakening. That awakening, that is mine. I am aligned with my true purpose in life. I am being shown the highest version of myself. I am being shown the path to my destiny. I'm going to read that again. I am being shown the path to my destiny. I receive guidance from my spirit guides, angels, and ascended masters. And I would add our community.
Yes.
I am being given the tools and information that will allow me to successfully complete my mission. I open my heart and I accept divine light and love. A human. Waheguru Ji Kal Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh, Fateh. The light in me sees the light in you.
We are expressions of the greatest, the sacred mystery that eliminates the darkness from our minds and turns us toward the light of love. We are blessed with this glorious journey. Waheguru Ji Kal Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh Fateh, Waheguru Ji Kal Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh Fateh, Waheguru Ji Kal Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh Fateh, Waheguru Ji Kal Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh Fateh. I live to tell it is well with my soul. I have confidence in who I am. We live to tell our stories together. I have confidence in who we are. Waheguru Ji Kal Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh Fateh, Waheguru Ji Kal Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh Fateh, Waheguru Ji Kal Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh Fateh, Waheguru Ji Kal Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh Fateh. Listen to the voice that likes you. She will tell you we are one. So let us dance into the oneness together. With confidence in who we are. The light in you sees the light in me. We shine together in glory. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh Fateh. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh Fateh. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh Fateh. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh Fateh. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh Fateh. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh Fateh. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh Fateh. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh Fateh.
Oh gosh, I really enjoyed sharing that with you. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh Fateh.
It's sick.
See, yeah, well, yes.
S-I-K-H.
Yes,
sick
those,
reading.
exactly. That's sick, man.
It's sick. It's pronounced.
That's what the kids are saying now.
know.
That's sick.
The light in you sees the light in me. We do a lot of that here at A Course in Miracles. So
Yeah.
what's stopping me from seeing the light in you? Well, in the language of A Course in Miracles, that's reality.
What's
Right.
reality?
You're sacred.
That you're the light.
Yeah, that you're the light, that
Right,
you're the
right.
sacred, that you're love, that
Mhm.
you're peace and
Mhm.
joy and all those things.
You are those things.
Anything that we can say about God, we can say about ourselves.
Oh,
You know?
yes.
So that has to be the case,
Holy.
because who's your daddy? You know, as they say. You know,
That's good. Who's your daddy?
Who's your daddy? So it gives, and what I like the way it's always been explained to me is no matter how much you may want it different, apple trees only produce apples.
Right.
Right. So gods only create gods. Right. Reality only creates reality. Now we can try to make something else different happen. We can really try this. And you remember this from like about 4 or 5 weeks ago, we talked about what does suffering require, or what does fear require? It requires us to manufacture it and maintain it, right? And if we want to, and if we can buy it from somebody else, but it cannot be created. It has to be like manufactured and maintained. Because if God didn't create it, it's not real.
Right.
Right. So fear, suffering, loss, all those things that make us crazy aren't real, but we're still participating in them, aren't we? We're still like playing in our own fear. We're still playing in the fears of the world. We're still playing in our own fears.
Right.
We're so it's not real.
But
how do we see it?
Answer me this. How can it not be real if I'm experiencing it?
Okay, you have a judgment about the feelings that you're getting.
Okay.
Remember, we said this earlier, your body's neutral.
Right.
Your body doesn't care about the stimulus that it gets.
Okay.
That's the idea of A Course in Miracles. You know, try it on. It's a concept in A Course in Miracles. Just like she says at the very beginning, you know,
nothing real can be threatened.
she goes, this is A Course in Miracles. It's a required course. The time you take it is voluntary. Free will doesn't mean that you can establish the curriculum. It means only that you can elect what you want to take at a given time. That's the nature of A Course in Miracles. Just, you know, we're all here doing this. We're all taking these lessons at different times. The Course doesn't aim to teach the meaning of love, for that is what beyond what can be taught. The Course aims at removing the blocks to the awareness of love's presence, which is your natural inheritance. She uses that word natural inheritance for a reason.
Okay.
It's already within us to be able to do it.
Cool.
You will grow you're an apple. You will grow an apple tree. No matter how difficult, if you're an apple, you will grow an apple tree. No matter how much you want to grow something else, you cannot grow and be something that you're not created to be. You can't be evil. You can't get it wrong. You
Right.
can't lose. Although the world says it is, although our bodies, the material object of the world says you are losing because we're looking at time. Remember the definition of time 3 weeks ago?
E equals MC squared.
When we did the E equals MC squared thing, that time requires mass and it requires energy in order for time to exist. So what is time? Time is the measure of what is not true. Like time is how we attempt to measure what is not true. Now, I'm saying all of that to get to chapter 28, when she talks about the undoing of fear. So if what is real really has a cause, God, Dad, Abba, if God created this, what is creating the fear that we're experiencing?
That's a good question.
The Course uses words like fatherhood. The Course uses patriarchal language to try to get us past patriarchy. The Course uses monarchical language to help us to help us see through the desire to please an authority. Right? That's like the third law of chaos. The trying to please that you can't please an outside source. You cannot please. You're looking for approval from others. That's the idea of a monarchy. So, and the Course uses concepts like salvation and forgiveness on their head in order to get us to re-examine our beliefs and look at the foundations about how we got here. That conversation within ourselves about how we got here, what's going on, is a discussion of cause and effect. And that's why she's talking about how can we reverse this idea of cause and effect? Because remember last week we talked about the world is happening to you. There's nothing you can do, and it's awful, and it's big, and you're tiny and small and broken and ineffectual, and the world is just going to steamroll right over you, and that's just the world, and get used to it, right? I don't believe that way. That's not how I actually operate. So in chapter 28, when she talks about reversing cause and effect, she begins this way. She says, we create as God is our creator, so are we. That's in the first paragraph. She goes, if you understand yourself as being created by God, then you have the same attributes as God does. And if you're creating what you do not want, it's because you want it. You actually want to mess with the fear. You actually want to mess with the suffering. This actually is intriguing to you or me or whatever my triggers are to get spun into dealing with something that I say I don't want to mess with. If I didn't want to mess with it, it wouldn't be here.
Truly.
It's really often right.
Or just a really bad habit.
It's just a bad habit. Can we examine the foundations of why we keep bad habits around? Would be another question that we could ask. So we're creators. We're creating the conditions that are making us unhappy. And that's actually good news. Because if we're creating the conditions for what we do not want, then we're just as capable of creating the conditions that'll produce what we do want. Surely we could have, and our friends would get on board with that. Yeah, I want you to be happy. I'll help you do that. Or I'll help you. Yeah, we do that. We have co-collaborators.
We are.
So we create in God's image, and she says the circle of creation has no end, and this is in the first paragraph. So think about even the limits of the effects that we think we have in the world. We don't have a real concept of how powerful we are. The Course is offering us. So when you do what is yours to do, it has effects. She says, well, you're thinking that you are not alone in the effects of your thinking, is a Course in Miracles lesson. So the effects, are you sure that you know all the effects of your thinking? No. The effects of doing what is ours to do in the world, the effects of if we're going to be cause in the world and we're going to be ourselves, which is a creative force in the world, then we don't really know what the effects are going to be in the greater world, because that's the way God operates. So we're joining in with God. So it would be like if a bunch of us were pushing a car and we're also in the car. So all of us are pushing the car and we're in the car. So we're actually getting farther than we could by ourselves. We're actually the driver and the person pushing the car. So we have effects, the effects of us as a general cause, as in doing what is ours to do, and effects on ourselves and the world that we cannot even see, being the driver, being the one in the car, actually being moved down the street.
Okay, wait. Let me sit with that for a second. Let's think about that. So we're both the driver and
You have help.
you
You have help.
to push.
We're all we cannot do any of this by ourselves, can we?
Right. No.
Did we make ourselves?
No.
No, of course not. So our being cause in the world is to align ourselves with what already is, with what is real.
Okay.
So that's the idea of the car. So if you align yourself with what is real, you're actually joining all these people that are pushing this car down the road. And it doesn't just become now your sole responsibility to push this car down the road.
Okay. Why are we pushing the car down the road?
It's just an example of something that might be yours to do because you broke it down.
Oh,
Because
okay.
the car broke down because we don't believe, we're living.
Okay.
Like, so the car, I guess, it's really torture this metaphor. The car would be would be our bodies maybe trying to receive healing.
I see.
It takes a lot of us, so you kind of move.
Takes a lot of us.
Takes a lot of us.
We're
Takes a
all
lot
on
of us to
board.
get that way. Takes a lot of us to heal as well. But
Okay.
it's always instantaneous because time doesn't exist. Our healing is always available to us. So I don't want to go down that road. She says,
Right.
fatherhood is creation, and
Mm-hmm.
there's your. If we are created, then we know that we also have the attributes of the Creator, and love must be extended, and purity is not confined. It is the nature of our innocence to forever be unconditioned and forever be without limitation.
Ah.
That's the antidote to this idea of suffering. The antidote to suffering is the tapping into, or is the understanding of our own purity and our own innocence. Again, we're getting to this idea of loss. What we want to do in the world and what we want to mitigate in the world is to let go of or try to manage some idea of loss. And that's where she says, good, examine these concepts, examine where this loss came from. Are you really losing or not?
Mm.
We are proof of God, and what is real has a cause, and what is not real has no cause.
Right. Nothing real can be threatened.
Right. So
Nothing
what is the
exists.
source of your hurt?
Mm.
It's our misunderstanding. It's our misjudgment of information. It's our inability to see and be with what is.
Spot on.
So,
And I just want to say it again because that's a stumbling block. Our inability to be with what is.
That's the definition of what she says peace is.
Being able to.
Peace is our ability to be with what is.
Okay, yeah. Herein lies the peace of God.
Herein lies the peace of God.
Because nothing,
In reverse, we think she calls this chapter reverse of the reverse of cause and effect is because we think the world is happening to us. We think you're actually being mean to me and I'm getting my feelings hurt.
Right.
No, you're being mean and I'm hurting my feelings because of the judgment I have about what all this is supposed to mean when you hurt my feelings or something like that.
I get that.
You don't. We know this.
Mm-hmm.
But we still operate. We don't examine what the causes of our own suffering is. Sickness, she says, is propaganda for the loss. See, we think we're I do feel bad, or I do have a wrong body, or I do have suffering because this does really exist for me. No, I'm not a body. I am free. I am judging what is happening to the body as something that I do not want, and that's called suffering.
Got it.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you do know in other situations I have been exhausted and been happy, and I have been exhausted and been sad.
Mm-hmm.
So the being exhausted is not what the problem is.
Mm.
Or being what's happening to my body is not what the problem is. It's my judgment of it. It's my ignorance of what how to work with it.
It is.
And that sounds kind of harsh, especially if you
Mhm.
have an autoimmune disorder, or
Right.
it sounds crazy. Except that that's not the problem.
Mhm.
What our bodies are doing isn't the problem. Saying it is the problem is your ego using the sickness as propaganda for the material world. So the causes of healing she says the cause of healing is the cause of everything. So what's the cause of everything?
Healing.
What's the cause of everything? What's the creator? Everything has been loved into existence.
Right.
We're loved into existence.
Yeah.
We love what we want into existence. And you can love suffering into existence. It won't be real, but you can certainly want suffering so bad that that's what you experience. So that's what we experience.
Interesting. That's an interesting
Yeah,
way
if
to
you've
get
ever
to it.
pursued somebody who told you to go away,
Go away.
you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you've ever been obsessed with somebody who didn't want anything to do with you, you're pursuing your own suffering and getting pleasure.
Boy, I sure did that. I did that
We've all
in a
done that.
relationship like for several years.
You can do it with religion. You can
Yeah.
do it with a job. You
Right.
can do it all kinds of ways.
You can do it with a job. I just realized that too. Wow.
So the cause of healing
Huh.
is the cause of everything. So rely on if you want to experience what is real, you need to go and participate with the things that produce what's real.
Okay.
So what part of you is the thing that produces what's real? The part that you share with me, the part that's God, the part that's real, the part that we do, the part that we are. The we-ness of you and me is where healing is, and aligning with that. And she says, can we, the miracle, let me go back, I'm getting ahead. The cause of healing is the cause of everything. See, again, she brings us back to this loss versus creation. Loss versus creation is where the road parts. And creation is healing. Creation is purity and sacredness and reality and letting things be as they are. Because that's what's been created, dealing with what is real, the living thing that's making this body, right? The living thing that's making the tree. The tree is an outward expression of what is making the tree. The tree.
Right.
So the tree is the expression of what is making the tree.
Okay.
What is making us? What's cause? What do I want to align with? What is moving the world? What of my Indian friend says, what moves? What moves the thing that moves?
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So that's cause. And we think cause was set in motion in a material object somewhere that's rolling toward us, like disease or a car again.
Do you have something in your life that you could share that illustrates that point, or anything in particular comes to mind?
Well, I just got the job I have. I really like a lot.
Yeah.
It's challenging.
Yeah.
I didn't really get this job. I just got into the mood and got into the place where I could see it when it came across my desk. So I wouldn't have normally been looking.
Your path. It just came
across my path and was like, oh, that's perfect. But I didn't. I was getting into a mind. I wanted to get into a mindset.
Right.
I wanted to get into a cause place where I could see what was mine to do instead of trying to produce something that I wanted to do.
I love that. I think the subtlety of that is really it's certainly not lost on me, because I think about how I've struggled so much in my life with finding the right job or whatever like that, fitting in and everything. And when you decided to not look for a job like you had so diligently in the past, you opened up a whole new world of allowing, and that was really powerful.
That's cause. Aligning yourself with cause, aligning myself with what I wanted, and not being judged, and not being concerned about what it was going to look like. I ended up getting a job that was walking distance to my house. That
totally perfect.
paid me about the same that I was making before, and they throw me out of there at 5 to 5, you know.
They make him
They
clock out.
come by my desk and say, "You have to leave now. You leave. You have to leave."
And he comes home for lunch.
I come home for lunch.
And it's
So,
just wonderful.
But
yeah.
I mean, it's like I created the conditions
Mhm.
that created what I wanted.
Right.
I aligned with cause, reversing cause and effect. I wasn't going to go look for the world to improve my environment.
Right.
I was going to go be what I wanted to be, and the world showed up with what matched that.
Love it. Love it. That gets another bell.
So this idea of reversing cause and
Yes.
effect.
Mhm.
We're often trying to, in the business world, you call it solving for problems. Now, in the world that we're often in, the world of the ego that says that this is real and this is all what's happening to us, they don't solve for cause, they solve for symptoms. The problems that most of the world is solving for the symptoms of things and not the cause of things. Right? So you don't like the Rocky Horror Picture Show, I'll take away the symptoms, but not the cause.
Right.
Because the cause is so much fun. If you don't ever have to solve the cause, you stay busy forever, right? If you don't have to solve it, the problem keeps happening again. You keep having to put the patch on,
And you have something to do.
And you have something to do.
Okay.
Maybe even something valorous, and
Right.
the world tells you is super
Yeah.
duper. But we're not solving
This
for
is
the
funny.
we're not solving for cause. We're
Right.
solving for we're not solving for cause. We're solving symptoms.
Right.
Right. So the miracle, and she says this, doesn't awaken you. It tells you who the dreamer is.
Wow.
A miracle doesn't tell us what the dream is. It tells us who the dreamer is.
Wow.
So who's making the decisions about what you're creating, about what we're creating? Who's making that decision? We are. And we're either participating with these manufactured things that have to be maintained and set up and keep going, or we're actually building what is real, or participating with what is real and setting up the conditions that are cause for what we want to happen. Reversing this idea of having to wrestle the world down and make it conform to our,
Right.
do the right thing, wrestle it down and drag it to the River Jordan, and baptize this. It's like, you've got to get right. No, that is managing symptoms.
Right.
We don't have to manage symptoms. If we manage causes, like God does, God doesn't deal with symptoms. God deals with causes. God is cause. We're cause. We're the cause. We are now the cause of the love we experience in the world.
Wow.
If we want to.
That's a powerful position.
The world is causeless, she says, because the world doesn't create anything. We do. The world is a reflection of what is real. So what is real is us, and the world is a reflection of that. The world can't cause anything to happen to you. The world can't cause anything to happen to us because it's a reflection of us. And that takes real responsibility, doesn't it? It takes you and me working together to try to examine why they're suffering. So here we go. We're interested here. If we want to reverse the cause and effect and be effective in our lives and build the things that we want, we must begin to take responsibility for our dreaming, for what we want, and for what is real. Because if we can dream what we want, love, connection, friendship, awakening. She calls that the happy dream in the Course in Miracles. That's the happy dream. To dream what you want, to dream it and see it before it's here. And in where I grew up, that's called faith. Right? You do what is yours to do, and you have faith that it's going to work out. You do what is yours to do. I'm going to do what is mine to do and live only as me and participate in only what is real, because I want to be the cause of what happens. That to be aligned with and to be with that cause means that I am I'm a cooperative component. I'm pushing the car. I'm doing my part, and you're with me, and we're sweating together behind this car,
pushing this
this car down the road.
This car has become very important today.
I don't know. It seems to be the metaphor for today. So taking responsibility for our dreaming, whether we're dreaming, of destruction, or whether we're dreaming, or she calls it fear. Fear is not in control. We are. We are not acting like adults when we do this, and it is ours to do. We're creating this bed, and we're also gonna lie in it. So remember that your mom ever say that to you? You created this mess, now you have to lie in it. Of Course in Miracles is saying that too. And we're creating this. If you don't like what you're lying in, it's because you created it.
Interesting.
But you didn't create it by yourself.
Mm.
And you won't get out of it by yourself.
Mm.
We're all here doing this together. It's important. So
takes a village.
Yeah, the world is causeless, she says. So seeing fear and as propaganda, and seeing who and what is manufacturing suffering, taking responsibility for our own, what we participate in, answers fear and suffering with innocence and purity.
There we go.
That's the container that creates what we want, that creates where we're moving. So take power away from fear and away from loss, this fear of loss that we have, that the material world is going to give us propaganda for, and listen to the voice that likes you. Because that voice that likes you, it will tell you that we're one. And that voice that likes you will even tell you how to act like it.
I love it.
I know. And I'm Reverend Glenn Morton Gannow, your
Yes,
favorite
you are.
catechist preacher, and you are at church with a 2-drink minimum.
Cheers!
I know. So reverse cause and effect, and we will have a shot at creating the world that we want. And I need your help to do that.
I totally love that.
Don't you?
So, in line with all of these blessings that we've been talking about. So, last week, I laughed and laughed about #blessed.
We did.
I thought that was just wonderful. And I don't know why I missed so much of that, because I am on Facebook a lot, but I don't know why I missed a lot of that. However, I do have a song that I have written.
What are the odds?
Which
I
follows
asked you,
that theme.
what are the odds?
And I just couldn't wait to share it with you today. And this is my my wonderful sister singing partner, Doreen Young Love, singing with me, and we're at Unity Church in Norwalk.
Norwalk.
So here we go.
And I really appreciate that. Let's give it up for Reverend Glenn Morton I am blessed as the child of love. I am blessed. I am blessed. I am a child of the universe. No less than the trees and the stars. I have a right to be here, and the universe wants my happiness, perfect joy and contentment. I am blessed. I am blessed. I am blessed. I am blessed. There is nothing to fear. There is nothing to fear. There is nothing to fear. There is nothing to fear, 'cause you are blessed as the child of love. You are blessed. You are blessed. You are a child
thanks everybody. Thanks so much for joining us. We're going to stick around for something genuine with Reverend Jacqueline. Ba 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 ba. Ba 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 ba.
And that's the show.
Thanks. We'll see
Love all y'all.
I am blessed as the child of love.